Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and read you the story. It's an integer story. And like I said, when I raise up my hand, you're going to show me your card. If you think it's positive, you're going to show me the green side. If you think it's negative, you show me the red side. Okay, ready? John owes his grandfather $30 for buying his mom a gift for Mother's Day. Okay. So he decided to get a job after school to earn enough money to pay his granddad back. On his way to the local grocery store to see about a stocker's vacancy, he found a $2 bill. Hi, Gabriel. What luck! As his good luck continued because after talking to the grocery store owner, he was hired for the job. The manager told him he would have to order a shirt with the store logo and his name sewn on it. That would cost John $15. On the first day of work, he carried a woman's groceries out to her car and got a $3 tip. But while he was stacking some chili cans, the stack fell over on him, and he had to get stitches where the cans cut his hand when he tried to catch them. The medical bill cost him a $40 copay. He was a little short on cash, but his boss felt so badly about his painful hand that he gave him a $10 advance on his pay and sent him home to rest. When he returned home, his mom gave him a big hug and brought him some mail. He had a birthday card from his favorite aunt, and she had included a $50 bill. What a great aunt! Since he couldn't work that night, he decided to pick up a $15 pizza with some friends. They split the cost 3 ways, so his share cost $5. But on his way out the door, he ran into a waitress and knocked the next people's order upside down on the floor. He had to order them a medium-sized pepperoni mushroom pizza for $12. The next day, John wrapped up his hand and went back to work. By the end of the week, he had his first paycheck, $85 minus his $10 advance. Yahoo! He could pay off his granddad and still have enough money for the movies. So he paid his $30 debt and went out for popcorn and a movie, which cost him $8. Broke again, so the next day he had to borrow $30 from his mom for his soccer fees. So what do you think about John's story?
He's getting money at the same time, making mistakes.
Making mistakes. So there's, as we're going along the story, you guys were listening in for those key words. What are some of the key words you heard? Jake?
He got or he spent it.
So got or spent, yes. Earned, used, lost, yes. Owed, paid, borrowed. So all of those are key words, right? And they tell you when it's a positive number or a negative number. Now, whenever we talk about integers, I want you to think of it that way. Now, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do the key words. Now, you mentioned some of them, and those are the ones that usually you hear, and you right away know what it is. So we're going to go ahead and show you that so you could write the key words. So go ahead and open your composition book to the first page after the tab. Okay, you're going to put the number 1 on the top, and then we're going to start on that. So what I need you to do is you're going to put integer story on as your title, and then you're going to go ahead and write keywords.
On this page or the back of it?
The next page on the right.
On the right.
So you're going to put integer story keywords. Now we did mention some of the keywords, but those are the ones that you guys right away knew. The ones we're going to list are the ones that we have trouble remembering. Okay, so what I'm going to do on the top, you're going to write negative. Make sure you do the 2 columns, and then you're going to put positive. So write negative and positive. Remember, positive has a plus sign. Does it have plus sign all the time? No.
Yeah.
And then negative has a minus sign. Does it have negative signs all the time? Yes, you have to show that. Okay, so here's some words. I'm going to give you the positive word. You're going to give me the opposite negative word. Okay? And you don't need the cards anymore, so just leave them down. Okay, so if I say deposit, what would be your negative word? Jade?
Take.
Well, take is still positive. But remember, when you say deposit, that means it's coming in, you're going to the bank, right?
It begins with a W.
It does begin with a W. Yes.
Withdrawal.
Withdrawal is correct. Okay, here's the next one. If I say gain, what would be the opposite?
Lose.
Lose or loss? Oh, I wrote it in black. It should have been in red. Sorry. Okay, if I say above sea level, yes,
Below sea level.
below sea level is the negative one. If I say ascend, like them. Descend is correct.
That's not my shoe.
If I say increase, decrease is correct. There's another one, but I can't remember. Okay, if I say rise, then the negative part will be, it could be fall. What else could it be?
Lower? Lower?
Lower? Well, wouldn't that be higher and lower? So when I say rise, then you could say
Fallen?
drop. And we're talking about temperature when we say that. Rise, the temperature rises, the temperature drops. Yes. Not while I'm teaching you. Okay, any questions? Now, these are some of the key words. It's not all of them because we heard some in the story, but those are the ones that a lot of students have trouble with. So make sure you keep that in there. Now, what you're going to do, I'm going to need you to take out the half page. That's where it says integers. That's where we're taking the integer notes. So that's going to be on the next page. Do not glue it yet. First, we write the notes, then we glue it. Okay, is everybody ready?
No.
Did everybody finish writing the keywords?
I was trying my shoe.
Oh. Okay, so on the top, and I have it in 3 sections. I have the top part, the middle part, and then the bottom part. So yours is in 1 page. So it says on the top, an integer is a whole number that can be more than 0 or less than 0. So remember, you have your number lines. Okay, this is 0. Everything on this side is less. Everything on that side is more. Now, guys, if you notice, you do have a number line on your paper. You also will have the number line that you just glued in. That's a vertical number line. And then there's a number line on the wall. So whenever you need the number line, there's your references or resources. Okay, let's go to the middle part. Now, integers are negative numbers and they are less than 0. And negative numbers are always shown with a negative sign. So always shown with a negative sign. Positive numbers are more than 0. And positive numbers are sometimes shown with a plus sign or a positive sign. So negatives are less than and positive are more than. What is 0? Is it positive or negative?
It's neither.
It's neither. 0, it's neither. It's neutral. 0 is not positive and it's not negative.
It's the boundary between the two.
Yes. And when you have 0, remember we talked about below sea level and above sea level? Well, 0 would be what?
Regular.
It's just sea level. It's not above, it's not below, it's just sea level. And that's something that a lot of students forget. So that's just sea level. Okay. Now, if you notice, we have an arrow down here. So you have -3 and +3. There's a relationship between those two. Okay, now remember we were doing the keywords and I would give you the positive and I would ask you for the negative. Well, what are those called when you have positive and negatives? You have deposit withdrawals, you have gain and loss. In English, what do we call those? Yes. Well, not in English class. So if I say girl, you say
Boy.
what are the? They're not different. They're opposites. So in math, those are opposites. When you have -3 and +3, those are opposites. So write in opposites on that. So if I asked you what's the opposite of +5, you're gonna say? If I asked you what's the opposite of -3, it's there. -2? +2. So that's what we mean about opposites when we look at it. And if you notice, it's the same distance from 0, but on the other side. So when they ask you for a definition, it's the same distance from 0, but on the other side. Any questions on opposites? Okay, let's go to the next one. And that's the bottom portion. So the bottom says, write an integer to describe each situation below. Okay, now you have a number line on top, but we're not going to be able to use that. So when you do your classwork / homework, you need to plot it in the number line. So let's look at the first one. It says a deposit of $25. So what would that be, positive or negative? Deposit is a key word, so is that positive or negative? Positive. So do I just put the plus sign? Is that an integer?
Yeah. No, it's not.
No, that's just a plus sign. What's an integer? When you put the number. So you have to put positive 25. Can I just put 25?
No.
No, well, yes, I can. With positive numbers, you don't have to put the plus sign. So remember that. Now, the key word, I'm going to go ahead and write it down here. Okay, the next one says, you have used 100 minutes of your monthly text messages.
Negative.
And if it's negative, what's the key word? Used. Remember what I told you that you're going to be adding to that list? So used, we didn't know what that meant. So if you used 100 minutes, what would be the opposite word? Saved.
100 minutes.
You saved 100 minutes. Okay. Let's go to the next one. You bought a video game for $14. Bought is the key word, and it's what?
Negative.
It's negative. So it's negative 14, that's your integer. So in this case, what would be the opposite of bought? Yes.
Saved.
Sell.
Sold.
Sold.
Sold, yes.
Wrong English.
So, yes, it's okay. We understood it, right? So the opposite of bought would be sold. So remember, you could write those in your keywords. That way you have them saved up. Any questions on the notes? Okay, so what you're going to do, this handout, you are gluing it on page 2 of your composition book. So glue it in. And as you're gluing it in, I am okay, so this is classwork. It becomes homework when you don't finish it in class. Most likely you will finish it. So what you need to do is you basically, says for each situation below, label it on the number line above, then write the integer to represent the situation. Justify your answer. So the first one says, Randy the quarterback had a loss of 2 yards. So how you justify the answer is underlining the key word. So what's the key word?
Loss.
Yes. Loss is your key word.
Lost it?
Okay, so this would be a positive or negative number?
Negative.
So do I just write a negative sign?
No.
No, you have to write a negative too, because that's the whole integer. The sign in the number is a whole integer. Then you go to the number line above, and you're going to draw a dot on the negative 2. And you're done with number 1.
Yahoo.
So you keep doing that until you finish number 15. Like I said, if you don't finish it in class, it becomes homework. We are going over it tomorrow. Any questions? Okay, we're good. Get to work.